If you're having problems with your septic system and you're tired of spending so much money each year to have it pumped, then SeptiClean is the answer for you. SeptiClean is an advanced specially formulated blend of bacteria used in the treatment of home and commercial septic systems. The breakdown of waste in your system relies on biological activity of naturally occurring bacteria. SeptiClean restores the natural biological process in your septic system and boosts the existing biological activity. SeptiClean is completely safe on all plumbing and can help prevent expensive emergencies in pumping. SeptiClean has approximately 6 to 100 times the bacteria count of other leading off-the-shelf brands in a one-year supply. SeptiClean comes in a water-soluble pack, which you flush down the toilet once a month with no mess or stress. Save time, money, and maintenance on your septic system. Find SeptiClean at Emporium True Value Hardware on Main Street in Sag Harbor or visit micro-tab.com. That's micro-tabb.com. Micro-tabb.com.
Well, it's a shame there has been nothing happening in the news. My goodness, the Republicans in the Senate getting a new leader. We're getting more and more cabinet appointments by the hour, it seems. President Biden meeting with President Trump. There is a ton of stuff going on, and the go-to guy on all of that has been Brian Kilmeade, nationally syndicated radio talk show host, co-anchor of Fox and Friends, and a New York Times best-selling author. Hey there, Brian.
What's happening?
You tell me. I can't imagine what it's like to have somebody that you're seeing and working with on a regular basis get the call to be the Secretary of Defense. That is precisely, though, what has happened with you, with the fact that Pete Hegseth, your colleague at Fox News, the weekend host of Fox and Friends, he got the call from President Trump to be Secretary of Defense. Did you have any idea that this was a possibility?
No, I was doing a shoot with them on Saturday at Long Island University where they're going to have the Patriot Awards. So I was with him for 4 hours. And believe me, he lives in Tennessee. He had to stay in the city. He had 4 kids. He had 2 of his kids with him. And he went out of our way. It took him 45 minutes to get out of the city after doing his show. We do a shoot from 12 to 3:30. And, you know, he was running around. I mean, believe me, if he thought, well, I'm doing a shoot for no reason, I can't host the Patriot Awards, I'm going to be Secretary of Defense. Now, I haven't spoken to him. Then he put on a great show because we did this whole shoot. It's going to be, you know, on the Patriot Awards. And I can't imagine. I mean, we booked a crew. He booked a classic cab. So that's, you know, from the 1950s. So I mean, it must have been quick. I don't have the backstory yet, but I'm probably going to acquire it today.
As you know, a lot of the reaction from the Pentagon, supposedly, because it's all anonymous sources and things like that, has been pretty negative, questioning whether he has the relevant experience to lead a department the size of the Department of Defense. What do you make of the criticism that Hegseth's nomination has gotten so far?
Let's see how it goes. I will say this. I mean, he's got a master's out of Harvard. He's got an undergrad out of Princeton. He's been in Gitmo, Afghanistan, and Iraq. And then he's with the National Guard. He was with part of those asked to call into duty, believe it or not, in the 2020 riots when they tried to break into the White House, when President Trump had to get to St. John's and he held up the Bible. Remember when he walked over?
Yeah.
Pete was all part of that National Guard unit. So he's been domestic. He's been wearing camouflage and overseas and in war. And then you just see how he wrote a book, spent 2.5 years writing a book about what's going on in the Pentagon and this new woke culture and how they don't try to win wars and how they just try to preserve their positions. And read the book. If you guys really are worried, you know, if there's people listening that just don't want any, you know, don't want to hear it, okay. But if you really want to know if he's ready, read the book and know that it became #1 in the country for 3 weeks, bestseller for 10. And he was just talking about it, whether in friendly environments, in unfriendly environments. So, and I ask you this, you have General Austin with the 4 stars. This guy was invisible for 4 years. I have no idea what he even sounds like. You know, you see him go get surgery, not tell the president, not appoint somebody to take his place. Idiotic things like this. That's not going to happen under Pete. So what you do is You talk to, I imagine, talk to General Keane, H.R. McMaster, people that just understand the Pentagon. And you get a great Secretary of Army. You get a great Chief of Staff. You get a fantastic deputy. And, Mattis didn't know how to navigate the Pentagon. Mm-hmm. Mattis went in there and got a great deputy. There was a management expert. So you could set the big picture. The other thing he's going to focus on, and it's not going to be his main thing, but he knows what it takes to recruit people. There's been no emphasis on recruiting. What do the men and women in the field need? And what do they need when they're done? I mean, the first thing he did while he's still serving in reserves is he sets up a group for Concerned Veterans for America. And he makes sure that they have a voice when they're done and they have benefits when they need them. And when he has free time, he's trying to get Navy SEALs who he feels are unjustly imprisoned out of the brig. And he's done that in the past. So if you've met him, you know he's a real deal. He's a really good guy. There's no arrogance there. He's a really good guy. And I think that, he's not traditional. A lot of people don't watch Fox. They don't know he's been here for 10 years or maybe more. So I have no problem with it. The Matt Gaetz is going to be. I don't know if Matt Gaetz gets out of the box.
Let's chat about this because you've been very, very vocal. One in criticizing Matt Gaetz, but also being supportive of Kevin McCarthy. Kevin McCarthy, since he left the speakership, whenever he's asked about Matt Gaetz, it is not a positive conversation. Even when he's not asked about Matt Gaetz, he brings up Matt Gaetz. Here was Gaetz explaining why he's no longer the speaker and how.
And I'll give you the truth why I'm not speaker. It's because one person, a member of Congress, wanted me to stop an ethics complaint because he slept with a 17-year-old. An ethics complaint that started before I ever became speaker, and that's illegal, and I'm not going to get in the middle.
That is what he has been saying all over the place. Were you surprised at this pick by Donald Trump?
Yeah, I mean, I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't know what to say. I don't get it. Now, is he smart? Can he think at his feet? Yeah, sure. Does he have the president's back? Absolutely. But there's a lot of people that do that. And you don't really have to have it. I mean, he's not going to be out there in the Wild West. What he wanted to do is fend off these crazy-ass investigations that had it, almost tried to bankrupt him for the last 2.5 years. And then when he gets into office, they launch a Russia. They say Russia put him there, and they do a 3-year, $100 million investigation into him. He's like, this got to stop. But I think there's other people who would have been a better choice. I've not talked to the former president about it. He doesn't have to check with me for it. But I don't know if he gets out of the Senate Judiciary Committee. I'm looking at these quotes from 2 senators. They want to be anonymous. There's no way this goes anywhere. It's on FoxNews.com right now. So the question is, he resigned right away. That means the ethics probe does not go public because he's no longer a member of Congress. Does that have anything to do with it? I just ask you, do they stop the investigation? It doesn't go public. He ends up having an attorney general investigate. Were they going to do a background check on him and ask him a whole bunch of questions, I think, in open settings. So it could be embarrassing still. See if he has any answers for it.
Well, and that's what a lot of people are wondering, is if maybe this is some sort of a bank shot, some sort of 3-dimensional chess to kind of get him out of the House where he's a thorn in the side of the existing leadership and the previous leadership. He's already resigned from the House. And then he doesn't get confirmed. And basically Trump gets credit for at least trying to reward Gaetz's loyalty, but he doesn't have to deal with him either in the House or as the attorney general when he doesn't get confirmed. You put any stock in that?
Yeah, I mean, I've been watching this from afar. So I was done with work. I'm hearing about this. So I have not been able to talk to people. I texted some people. I'm just kind of watching this unfold last night. I'm really happy about Rubio. I think Rubio is going to be fantastic. So I think that's a great pick. I think Tulsi Gabbard's going to be fantastic in that role. A lot of people don't. I do. If you ever been around her, interviewed her, you know how smart she is. And I think that she's going to look over these agencies and make sure they're heading in the right direction and not spying on me and you, Frank, in the middle of the night. So
at the very least, you think
she'll be really good.
She'll be able to take herself off the terrorist watch list, right?
Wouldn't it be great? Wouldn't it be great? I mean, you're not kidding. People at home should know that she's on this enhanced list where she can't get on a plane without additional questioning, being brought over to a side room. She's greeted when she gets off planes. Someone did that to her. She's about to find out who did it.
All right. The meeting between the two presidents yesterday, I thought was really nice. And I thought both men exhibited a great deal of class. I also couldn't help but notice that President Biden didn't exactly greet President Trump as if Hitler was taking over the government. He was pretty kind. What did you think of what we saw yesterday?
Yeah, I mean, he looked so happy last week when he went to and announced that they lost and we'll get over it. He looked so happy. There was literally a bounce of the step. He jogged up the steps at the White House to the Rose Garden. And then yesterday, big smile on his face. Now, these guys are politicians. You never know what they think. But you could, with Biden, he can't mask any of his feelings. I mean, he's lashing out at people. You know how angry he's been. He seems really happy. And obviously, Kamala Harris, there was no demand for her to show up. But she was nowhere to be found, didn't release a statement. So obviously she's embarrassed to blow $1 billion, have $20 million in debt. And now we get this story about the reason why she didn't sit down with Joe Rogan is because she didn't want to upset the left wing of her staff. Think about that. Joe Rogan's not even a conservative. So she doesn't want to upset her own staff. Can you imagine what kind of president she would be?
No, I can't. In terms of the U.S. Senate aspect of things, they have a new leader, first time in about 2 decades that Mitch McConnell's not in charge. John Thune is the new majority leader. What's your take on what the Republicans did in terms of the Senate leadership?
He's a class act. I mean, if you ever met John Thune, I think at one point, Frank, you'll interview him. He's just a great guy. Very level-headed. Like, he called out Trump in the past. He's Mitch McConnell-esque, but he's a little bit more subtle than Mitch McConnell. And he's obviously younger. And, he's got that South Dakota sensibility. It's very hard to rattle. I think the president likes guys that look like central casting, and he does it. And I just also know that he's probably the best athlete in the Senate. So I know that he used to play basketball with Obama when he first got in, and they used to talk about that. So I think he'll be really good. And there's, everyone's like, oh, it's going to be pushback on Trump's agenda. There's not going to be a pushback. I mean, everyone knows what Trump's going to do. He's in for it. They're going to look to cut spending. They're going to look to do tax reform and put all those taxes back in place and do the tax on tips, maybe on a solo bill. And they're going to look to drill responsibly and reduce the red tape when it comes to liquefied natural gas and things like that. There's going to be almost no friction. But with this Matt Gaetz thing, he'll put Matt Gaetz up. He's not going to tell the Judiciary Committee what to do. So I think it's going to be great. I think that, Speaker Johnson's going to have an issue because he's now lost Gaetz, he's lost Waltz, and he's lost Stefanik.
My name is Lily, and I've had hidradenitis suppurativa, HS, for years. I finally found some relief since taking Cosentyx. Relief means I can show up more.
Cosentyx secukinumab is prescribed for adults with moderate to severe hidradenitis suppurativa, HS. Don't use if you're allergic to Cosentyx. Before starting, get checked for tuberculosis. An increased risk of infections and lowered ability to fight them may occur, like tuberculosis or other serious bacterial, fungal, or viral infections. Some are fatal. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms like fevers, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, had a vaccine or plan to, or if inflammatory bowel disease symptoms develop or worsen. Serious allergic reactions and severe eczema-like skin reactions may occur. Learn more at 1-844-COSENTYX or Cosentyx.com.
Ask your dermatologist about Cosentyx.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever find yourself playing the budgeting game? Well, with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive, you can find options that fit your budget and potentially lower your bills. Try it at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states.
Acura's all-new ADX, A compact SUV that isn't just built for one thing, it's precision crafted for everything. To escape the grind with available all-wheel drive. To go with your flow with available Google built-in.
Hey Google, turn it up.
Okay, turning up the volume. And crafted to be heard with an available Bang & Olufsen premium sound system. The all-new Acura ADX, crafted to match your energy. Acura, precision crafted performance.
Take your vibes and go.
Google is a trademark of Google LLC.
Yeah, no, it's going to be a very narrow majority, no doubt about it. Unrelated to what's going on in Washington, at least directly, there was some controversy involving Michael Strahan and him not putting his hand over his heart for the Star-Spangled Banner. He issued a statement yesterday saying this was not a form of protest. He was just kind of caught up in the moment. What did you make of the initial controversy and Strahan's response to it?
Well, I mean, I heard he threw somebody's phone or did something like that. And here's the thing. With
right, a
Michael
reporter
Strahan.
for the Daily Mail.
Frank, So here's the thing. I'm always a Giant fan, but I lived and breathed the Giants. You know, I loved them, so especially when I was out in California. I remember when he was drafted. And the first thing I thought about is they talked about him being a military family. And I always stuck in the back of my mind that this guy is extremely patriotic. And there's no way that he was protesting. I've done it. Like, you ever see, sometimes if you are Catholic and go to communion, sometimes you don't even realize your hands in your pockets instead of they're folded. And you're like, wow, was that disrespectful? Oh, my God, I wasn't even thinking. And to me, it's so obvious. Michael Strahan, this isn't Kanye West. This isn't Spike Lee. But, you know, Michael could have come out and just said it. Hey, guys, I kind of zoned out. He explained it. And then he went on video and explained. He goes, I'm not happy the way I acted, but let me just explain to you. In the middle of the national anthem, I realized what I did. So would I call more attention to it if I quickly put my hand on my heart, or should I just play it out? But he said, notice, for the last 2 days, I've been spending time with the Navy SEALs in San Diego at that naval base, and I'm in awe of what they do. And he goes, had me on military bases my entire life. Mm-hmm. So it is farcical to think that he is not patriotic. I know there was a time in which people were taking a knee when you were getting condemned for not taking a knee. But that ship has sailed, and Michael Strahan is not that guy. Come on, America. You watched him. You watched him as an athlete. You watched him with Kelly Ripa, and you watch him in a casual setting like a morning show. You know who he is. So I tweeted out, I'm like, Jay Glazer's his best friend, and I'm very friendly with Jay, and I'm friendly with Michael. So I tweeted that out. There's no one more patriotic, maybe in sports.
Yeah, I was very surprised at the reaction, because I would think if he was going to make an overt protest, he wouldn't then say, oh, no, I wasn't protesting. If you're going to protest and make a statement like that, you do what Colin Kaepernick does. You explain why you're doing what you're doing. It's not a very effective protest if it's a secret protest that nobody knows about.
I know. So, Frank, he would have done better just to say it. I kind of zoned out. All right. Yep. But what happens is this. He's so it's an insult. All of a sudden I'm unpatriotic. I'm not even answering that question. And all of a sudden the thing gets bigger, bigger, and bigger, and bigger. And then he's like, all right, I'll answer the question. But first, hey, reporter, show a little decorum. Get out of my face. And it's the same thing with Jason Kelsey. Jason Kelsey at the campus at Penn State. This guy's following him around, asking questions about his brother. He turns around, grabs his phone, and smashes it. He's like, do you realize in life, if I'm going to walk around and harass a guy that is 6'5", 270, I know I got to be ready in life to really get pounded on. But, you know, people think that because you're out in front, you can, do a Mike Wallace in the 1970s with 60 Minutes. Tell me why, you've lied about smoking, that it's not bad for you. So I think people do have to have a little decorum. You can follow a story, but I do think people got to stay out of people's faces because you're a human being too. Look, remember my story? What happened with me is that I was talking about how Kamala Harris, as vice president, I said she went to a sorority, a campus sorority, and instead of going to visit with Netanyahu and going to that joint session of Congress. And some idiot on MSNBC, he apologized to me, but not publicly, said I said colored. And I didn't want to dignify. They go, Brian, everyone says you said colored, a colored sorority. I go, I didn't. play it back. And they go, you're right, but they're saying that. And I didn't want to even address it, and I didn't. And I think I said it the next day on camera. I waited 24 hours, and I go, they go, if you want to say it, you can say it. So I said, yeah. I go, of course I didn't say colored. What am I, Archie Bunker in 1948? Who even uses that term? I said campus.
Brian,
So I feel in a way that Strahan did the same thing.
Hey, you have a pick on Mike Tyson and Jake Paul this Friday?
A 57-year-old, a boxer that was beat by Peter McNeely in his last fight, but he was on drugs at the time. I think that if Tyson can knock him out, it's 2-minute rounds. It's 6 rounds or 8 2-minute rounds. So I think that Tyson has been training for 6 months, and he does seem angry. So my hope is he learned to do what Foreman did in the ring in his 40s, relax in the ring. Tyson doesn't come out, I know he fights like that, but I'm wondering if he learns to relax in the ring a little bit, and will wait and pick his spots.
All right.
So I've also listened to people describe it. I think Tyson wins.
That seems to be the consensus, at least on this radio program. You know what you're doing this weekend on Fox Nation?
Well, I know I got Jim Jordan for sure, and I'm working on some of these nominees. We're just trying to get freed up by the new White House to let them come out. And I'm going to debate this spending, putting all this money to make Beyonce, Oprah, and Al Sharpton. What did they pay them in order to get an endorsement? So I'm going to unwind that for sure, and I'm going to ask 2 Democrats to come on and explain it. Before everyone gets in their corners and talks about the midterms, this is the time. This is the honesty portion of politics. So hopefully we'll get some of that out. Carly Shimkus will be joining me as well.
All right.
That's all I'm willing to commit to you, Frank. But thanks so much.
Take it.
Saturday at 9.
Saturday at 9 o'clock on Fox News Channel, 9 o'clock Eastern. You can check out Brian Kilmeade on radio and on television every single day. He's on more hours on the air than most people are awake. Thank you, Brian.